Yo, what is up? Welcome back. Today in this video, we're going to be checking out all the new villain synergies. Now, we're going to be looking at all the old Notorious items as well as the new Notorious items with the Infamy Season 1 Scarecrow sets. Now, if I do forget anything, please let me know in the comments. Also, I did not test every possibility, so I'm not sure if some villain synergies could be different if it's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, or if you have all 3 items equipped as opposed to 1. Now, I just pretty much tested this with one single piece of Scarecrow gear just to find the villain synergies. Also, let me know in the comments which one of these are your favorite, because they can certainly bring a nice, interesting twist on gameplay, as well as adding multiple villain synergies in your build. But let's take a look at all the old Notorious items first. Now, the first ones we're going to be looking at is the black mask weapons. All of these items, I guess the first couple items, are going to be pre-season 1. So when you have the black mask, now this does also apply to the grenade as well. So every 20 critical hits instantly reloads your current firearm, and you gain 100% increased critical hit damage for 20 seconds. It's called Would You Like to See My Mask? I do really like this one. Now, it doesn't actually have to apply to this specific weapon. So you can add this as your secondary and use some sort of crit build or crit weapon for your very first item and just use that item and still get this villain synergy. And then we got the Two-Faced Persuader melee weapon. Now, the melee weapon does come across all five of the characters, and this is called Dread and Mayhem. When you kill an enemy with a suicide strike, you have a 100% chance to trigger either Dread or Mayhem. Dread causes enemies within 20 meters of you to take 250% more damage, while Mayhem causes enemies within 20 meters of you to deal 50% less damage. Either effect lasts for 60 seconds. Now, this one again is pretty cool. I really like the trait. The only bad thing with some of the old items is that it has Craze on there. Now, if you haven't played Season 1 yet, Craze really doesn't do a whole lot in Season 1, unfortunately, but it's still a pretty decent trait. And then we got the Hugo Strange specialization neck bomb called Psychochemical Warfare. Every time you afflict 5 or more enemies with the same affliction within 10 seconds, you gain 20% affliction resource, and you deal 500% increased damage against enemies afflicted by that affliction for 20 seconds. This would work really good with poison. Now, I don't and haven't tested all of this stuff yet, so I'm not exactly sure how effective or if it even works, if it's bugged or if there's any issues with it. But just reading by the text itself, I think this is an absolute fantastic one. I think it's really good. But that is all I found with the old Notorious items. So now let's look at the new Notorious items with the old Infamy sets. And there are 2 items that do go or have villain synergies with the Bane set. And a couple of them actually can be used, because some of Bane's pieces, even though that his set revolves around Craze, when you equip one single piece, sometimes the very first piece you equip has nothing to do with Craze. So you can technically still use it and still get these villain synergies. And the first villain synergy we're going to look at is with Merlin's Blinding Shot. It is called Focused Rage. If you kill 3 afflicted enemies within 10 seconds, you gain 100% critical hit chance for 20 seconds. So this is pretty nice. I mean, pretty decent, pretty simple, pretty easy to trigger, and the 100% crit is also nice. And then we got the villain synergy between Bane and the Two-Face's Fickle Fate, which is, again, a shield mod that can be applied to all 5 of your characters, and the actual synergy doesn't have anything to do with Venom Frenzy, so that's good. So you can find a Bane piece that has nothing to do with Venom Frenzy, like, say, the tier 1, where it just has to do with increased damage per missing enemy health. And this one does harvesting enemies now has a 100% chance of dropping grenade ammo, and also increases grenade damage by 100% for 20 seconds. Now, if you want to run some sort of grenade spam build, 100% chance of dropping grenade ammo. That can leave a lot of grenades. This could be definitely pretty useful. So now let's look at the new Scarecrow Infamy sets with the new Notorious items. And the first item we have is Dr. Poison's Maru 2 Injector. This villain synergy is called Slow Death. Enemies you afflict now take 100% more damage and also become poisoned while afflicted. Now this item right here could certainly go really good with burn builds or freeze builds even, right? As long as you poison them and they're afflicted by that affliction, like burn, and poison seem to go really good together. But yeah, 100% more damage when you afflict them and they become poisoned. Then we got the Mad Hatter's 3-leaf clover melee. Again, it is a melee, so it's any 5 of the characters as long as you can pull it anyway or get that drop anyway. And this is called Keep Your Hat On. When you kill an enemy with a critical hit, you add a hat to your collection. When you have 7 hats, one of these crazy things happens. A, increases your damage dealt by 100% for 20 seconds, but you also take 50% more damage. B, increases affliction resource generation by 500% for 20 seconds. C, completely refills health and shield and makes you immune to damage for 10 seconds, but you deal 50% less damage for the duration. Now, out of all of those, especially when you're running those high level ones, I don't know, man, either A or C. I don't really see, I don't know, B would be fine. I guess 500%. I mean, they're not terrible. It's nothing crazy good to me, but I think it's still okay. Then we got the traversal mod, Dr. Psycho's Psionic Barrier. And since it is a traversal mod, much like the Mad Hatter's melee, you have to get the drop for the specific character. And that certainly can take some time. But this one is called Mind Games. Each affliction you apply gives you a different bonus for 25 seconds. Deep Freeze, 100% damage dealt. Diablo Blaze, plus 25% damage reduction. Live Wire, 100% critical hit damage. Venom Frenzy, 100% affliction strike recharge. And so all of those are pretty good, except for the Diablo Blaze. I mean, damage reduction, 25% damage reduction. I don't necessarily really like anything that reduces the damage reduction. I'd much rather have a build that does more damage output rather than damage reduction. We got the Two-Face Fickle Fate. Now this one can be applied to both Bane and Scarecrow at the same time, which is kind of cool. So if you do have a Bane piece, you have a Scarecrow piece, both of them applied, you can add both of those synergies that we talked about. And so this is a shield mod, Dread and Mayhem. When you kill an enemy with a suicide strike, you have a 100% chance to trigger either Dread or Mayhem. Dread causes enemies within 20 meters of you to take 250% more damage, while Mayhem causes enemies within 20 meters of you to deal 50% less damage. Either effect lasts for 60 seconds. And again, this is one of those things where I would so much rather have damage output rather opposed to taking less damage, because I could deal with the less damage. I could find ways to maneuver and get away from the damage, dodge, traversals, all of that stuff to get away from taking hits, but I need to have good damage output. So one of those things where one of them's really good and the other one I don't think is that good. And finally, the last villain synergy, or at least the last new villain synergy that we have, is called Slow Death. This is with Dr. Poison's Affliction Attunement. Enemies you afflict now have 100% more damage and also become poisoned when afflicted. This is the same exact one as the rifle or SMG, the Dr. Maru's injector, or Dr. Poison's injector. And so you can get either synergy from either using this Lucky Charm or if you want to use the assault rifle / SMG. Unfortunately, Reverse Flash's neck bomb, Polka Dot Man's grenade, Merlin's pistol, none of those have villain synergies with Scarecrow gear. And I didn't see that any of them had, well, besides for Merlin's blinding shot, I didn't see that any of them had any synergies with Bane. So both Polka Dot Man and Reverse Flash, I couldn't find any villain synergies for anything. Not saying they're necessarily not out there, but if you do see it and do find it, you know, let me know what the exact combination is. Because like I said, I didn't test all the different tiers. I didn't test with one specific thing, you know, equipped as opposed to another. And maybe you have to do something like that to trigger one of those villain synergies. But I don't know. I don't really see them having villain synergies with either Bane or Scarecrow. But you know what? I'm really not sure. But either way, those are all the new villain synergies for season 1. There are certainly a lot of good ones out there and certainly a lot that you can apply even to Bane's almost obsolete Venom Frenzy builds. If I missed anything, please let me know in the comments. Which of these villain synergies do you think is the best? If you're interested in checking out a stream, go in the description, follow Twitch, or sub to the YouTube channel because we do stream on both platforms. If you also want to check out my Twitter page, which I also do post and respond to messages, links for those will be in the description. Hit the thumbs up if you did enjoy, sub if you're new. I will see y'all next time. Y'all take it easy. We're out. Peace.